Good afternoon, folks. Now I have discussion C for you. We are discussing assisted dying law needs strengthening. Okay, so that is today's C. Please join me for discussion C. Assisted dying law needs strengthening. A review panel in Jersey has taken a close look at the island's proposed assisted dying legislation and concluded that while the draft law contains many of the core protections expected in such a sensitive area, it still needs significant strengthening before it is ready to be implemented. The proposal, approved in principle by the state's assembly in January, would allow adults with a terminal illness and incurable suffering to end their lives. With medical assistance, the panel's message is not opposition to the concept, but a call for greater clarity, consistency, and safeguards to ensure the law functions safely and ethically. What the panel says needs to change. The assisted dying review panel, chaired by Louise Doublet, issued 28 recommendations designed to tighten the law's structure and remove areas where ambiguity could lead to confusion or risk. Their recommendations highlight the practical realities of implementing such law, clarifying ambiguous provisions. The panel found several sections where the language was too open to interpretation. They argue that clearer definitions and more explicit criteria are essential so that clinicians, patients, and oversight bodies understand exactly how the law should operate. Creating a formal appeals process. Because disagreements may arise about eligibility, capacity, or procedural steps. The panel recommends a transparent, accessible appeals mechanism. This would give patients and families a way to challenge decisions without undermining the law's integrity. Setting minimum experience requirements for clinicians. The panel stresses that the professionals who prescribe or administer life-ending medication must have significant experience both clinically, and ethically. This is meant to ensure competence, reduce risk, and maintain public trust. Strengthening assessments of physical incapacity. The law must define what counts as physical incapacity in a way that is both rigorous and compassionate. The panel calls for robust criteria supported by consistent guidance and regular training so that assessments are fair, reliable, and aligned with best practice. Why these safeguards matter. Doublet emphasized that assisted dying is one of the most sensitive and ethically complex issues ever brought before Jersey's government. The panel's recommendations reflect the tension at the heart of assisted dying laws everywhere. How to honor autonomy, dignity, and compassion while ensuring that vulnerable people are protected, and that one and that no one is placed at risk through unclear rules or inconsistent practice. Strengthening the law now before it is enacted is meant to prevent future problems, legal, ethical, and clinical, and ensure that the system is safe. Transparent and trustworthy from the start. What happens next? The State's Assembly is scheduled to debate the draft legislation on 24th February, and the panel's recommendations are intended to guide revisions before that debate. Whether lawmakers adopt all, some, or none of the recommendations will shape how Jersey's assisted dying framework ultimately functions and how confidentially the public can rely on it. If you'd like, we can also explore how these recommendations compare to safeguards in other jurisdictions, or how they align with broader debates about autonomy, protection, and end of life policy. Okay, guys, I'm going to take a little break and I'll be back on with D shortly for you. For now, Gator Wellness, take care, folks.